Get ready to meet the unstoppable Bersabeh Ray, a woman who embodies resilience, power, and transformation like no other. Born in the chaos of a war-torn Iran, she didn't just survive, she turned her pain into purpose, escaping a childhood of violence and trauma to become a beacon of hope for people all across the globe. Today, the dynamic force behind Harmonic Wealth Global, the life changing business she co founded with her husband, New York Times bestseller, James Arthur Ray. Together, they have been on a mission to impact 1 billion lives, helping people reclaim their power and build their lives in harmonious and success. This isn't just a typical inspirational story. She's fierce, fearless, unapologetic, and real. Her journey will light a fire under you and prove that no matter how dark life gets, there's always a way to rise, thrive in your own destiny. Let's just say where Bashar walks into a room or onto a podcast, you feel it. Get ready to be inspired and let's go.
Welcome to Power Your Profits Podcast, your friendly guide in bringing your business revenue to the next level. Listen as host Dr. Susie Carder hears inspiring stories of success from her fellow entrepreneurs and transformational leaders. Prepare to make significant change to your strategies as they unravel the secrets of building multi-million-dollar businesses and the most effective tips on finance, marketing, and sales accountability. If you want to take your first steps towards explosive business growth, this podcast is for you. Without further ado, here is your host, Dr. Susie.
So, Bersabeh, thank you so much. I'm excited for our audience to meet you. So, let's talk about your upbringing because you were born in a war-torn Iran that was filled with unimaginable challenges. Can you share with how these early experiences shaped your resiliency, your strength, and your mission to today working with Harmonic Wealth Global?
Sure. Did you want me to go into the details of what went
Yes, we
down?
love the
Okay.
story, girl. We love the story and that you're here and like it's so admirable and commendable. And I think it brings it home to not everyone is as blessed, right, in our country in America to go appreciate where you're at, but to hear the story and then how you rose, right, and chose a different life.
Sure. I grew up in Iran. I was born in Iran at a time where Iran was at war with Iraq, and the so-called revolution had just taken place too. So there's two things going on at once. um, when the revolution took place and the Islamic Republic took over, what happened was there was a lot of people that were killed. There was a lot of people that were thrown in prison, and going to prison there was pretty much a death sentence. There was women that were raped or killed, and so forth. And they gave a hard time to the Christians, to the Jewish people, and to the Baha'i people, which is the background that I grew up in. And unfortunately, we had an incident where the military kicked down our door and took my dad, ripped him out of the house, and threw him in prison, which was, we're thinking, are we ever going to see him again? And at the time, women, you couldn't work. So you couldn't go out and, especially if you have the background of three of those religions that I named, you couldn't get a job. You couldn't get paid. So my mom, the way she made money was selling cigarettes. And when she went to go visit my father in prison for the first time, unfortunately, she was raped by the guards there. And I myself experienced sexual abuse as well. There was no one around.
Right.
So the let me so my I'll say fortunately enough, my father was able to get out of prison, which was, a godsend. And when my father came out of prison, we realized they sat down, my parents talked that we can't live here. There is
Right.
no future, for any of the kids, especially the women. Women had no rights. And I'll tell you, it happened so fast. If you go back and look at Iran from the early 70s and go back further, it was like you're looking at pictures from Europe. So when the whole revolution took over, it was like they came and within a couple hours, they said, okay, from this day forth, all the women have to cover up now. And everyone was in shock. Like, what in the world is going on? So that became the norm. And we know that we couldn't have a life there. So we decided that we're going to leave. And the only way you could leave was to escape the country. And
Mm,
we had to find people to pay to smuggle us out of the country. I remember we got picked up in the middle of the night, going through the desert. We made it to Pakistan. We had to live in Pakistan for a couple of years to get our visas to be able to come to the United States. And that journey by itself is quite a lot.
yeah.
It shapes who you are and what you do going forward. Now coming to the States, it the first thing that I felt coming to the States was that I could lay my head down at night and not worry about bombs
Mm,
dropping on our houses. One of the first childhood memories I had was we had a bomb drop. Literally, if you go down your street and count 5 houses down from us. And these are things that, it's just that when you live in America and people that are born here and used to the security and safety, uh, some things are taken for granted, right?
yeah, yes.
So when I came to the States, that was the first one. I mean, it was like you could sleep at night, don't have to worry about anything, don't have to worry about the military kicking down your door, taking you.
Right.
Um, and so, and also one of the things that it taught me growing up where I grew up is that, the government is normally not your friend. They say they
Right.
are, but
Right.
yeah. And I'll stop there if you want to jump in, or I'll just keep going.
Well, I think your story is one triumph over trauma, right? Rising
Mhm.
above extraordinary challenges, right? You like when parents yelled at me, I could suck it up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've all had our trauma, it's different.
Sure.
So, how do you use this? Because for a lot of people, it would just, immobilize them. So, how do you use your personal experiences to connect with and empower those who feel trapped by their own circumstances?
Well, I think one of the major things that connects us as human beings is our suffering.
Hmm.
And it's because then can you really have compassion for one another because it's a common suffering. And I think that's what brings us closer together. I mean, it's when we face life challenges and things that we have to go through and be able to pull ourselves out, is the only time that it puts us in a position of, hey, you got to move. You got to get out of this comfort zone that you get so used to. So I think and it's a hard thing to swallow, but if any of you, or even yourself, Susie, if you think about a time when you're going through a challenge, it was a time where it's like somebody lit a fire on you, under you, to move, right?
Yes.
And you have to have the foundation, a solid foundation in knowing who you are and what you're made of and what you're here to do to get you moving. Now, I will tell you, what I did to get to the place that I got was I did a lot of work on myself and changing my life, because I did go down the path of doing drugs and getting in gang behavior and all that. And I reached a point where I said, if and I think we all come to this crossroad, at some point in our life, is that we got to decide, am I going to am I going to exit this life not knowing what I'm capable of doing, not even having given it a go? So you have to make that hard decision to move and to be able to experience something um, in the purpose that you were created for. Because if we buy into our experiences make me who I am, that's when we lose the game.
Yes. Well, and there's so many people just lost, right? What's my purpose?
Yeah.
Why did I go through that? I always look at my upbringing as it was the thing that taught me what not to do versus
Hmm.
play victim, martyr. And although the things that happened to me in my upbringing were not pleasant and it was dysfunctional, it taught me to be a better mom. It taught me to be a better spouse. It taught me to be a better woman. It taught me to stand up for women's rights,
Mm.
stand up for us. Let's come together as community versus, where some communities, which I don't understand, women fighting against women, right?
Yeah.
Your
Hmm.
latest book, God, Money, and Sex, what exactly does that mean? And why do you see it's pertinent, especially today? I think in today's world, it's such a juicy
Yeah.
topic. So let's talk about
It
that a little bit.
Sure, we could talk about that. And I'm gonna have to say I was the illustrator of God, Money, and Sex, and my husband, my late husband, he was the author of this was his last book, God, Money, and Sex. And what we believe in is that we've gotten to a point to where we are now in society, as a culture in as a whole, is that we've gotten away from God.
Yeah.
We've made material our God. We made money and materialism our God. Our faith has become materialism, and money has become our God. And the we call it the vertical principle, which is the God relationship. Even though your God relationship is inside, even Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within. So that's what we need to get back to, and that's what the God principle is about. Is that we started looking at even celebrities or actors, and we've put these people on a pedestal which they do not belong on.
Right.
Right? This is God's place. This is, and every single time, even if you read the Bible, every single time society was going south, getting away from God and worshiping God, putting that principle first, is when society started collapsing and going down the wrong path. And we talk about money because that's going back to God, is we've made money our God. And
Right.
money is nothing but just a tool,
Yes.
right? We've made it as something to worship. It's only a tool, and money is it's energy. It's what you create. It's ideas. It's what kind of service are you providing. To worship it is the wrong thing to do. So then we come down to sex, and sex, we say, is an acronym for sacred energy exchange. And
I like,
yeah. So we say that because, sex is actually a really sacred act that's
yes.
supposed to be between a married couple. That this is a union, and I'm going to go out saying this, and people are going to go, "What are you talking about?" But this is, you come together in a union, and it's almost like a worship to God. It's like a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at what's going on in the world today, they've taken it and perversed it. You look at pornography, or child sex trafficking is gone rampant. And
Right.
there's
It's a commodity.
right. And they do this for a reason, because this, used properly, is a powerful form of prayer and worship.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to another episode of Power Your Profits podcast. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Are you tired of pouring resources into strategies that don't work? Say hello to Dr. Susie Carder, your future fractional COO. With Dr. Susie in your corner, your business can skyrocket to 7 figures and beyond. With a track record of creating thriving businesses, trust that you are in good hands. Head over to coo.poweryourprofits.com and let us put some magic into your business growth. Are you tired of struggling to take your business to the next level? Power Your Profits is the game-changing book you've been waiting for. Dr. Susie Carder, creator of the Predictable Success Method, reveals her proven strategies for explosive growth. From daily operations to marketing systems, this comprehensive guide empowers you to achieve predictable revenue and profit growth. Don't miss out on this invaluable wisdom. Transform your business today. Find your copy at books.poweryourprofits.com.
So those are the three main things that we talk about, because it's so important to put those things in perspective so that you get your life on the right track. Then you find meaning rather than this emptiness inside that you're searching for. That's what we're looking to fill inside of people's hearts.
I know for myself, when I stray away from my practices, or I get busy being busy, or I put work first, and I always believe it's my faith first, my family second, and my job third. And whenever I mix those up and forget, the faith goes third, my life doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
Everything dries up. I'm fighting more with my husband, or not getting along with my kids. I'm like, wait, what is off? Well, I'm
Yeah.
putting my prayer, I'm not putting my practices right. I think there is no pedestal, like you get up, then you fall down and go, oh. So there is a strategy around having that, harmony inside of our life. So
Yes.
looking back on your journey, and you are such a survivor, right? In your personal journey and professional growth, what was one specific moment that you felt like was the turning point where you knew you were on the right path?
The turning point for me that I'm on the right path was when I took absolute responsibility for my life.
Mm-hmm.
And, we can sit back and go, oh, it was my parents, or this happened to me, or this person did that to me, or in my previous marriage, I was in an abusive relationship. It was him that was doing those things. It wasn't me, and so forth. And I
Right.
got to a point and I said, you know what? This is, what am I doing to create or recreate the situations that are taking place in my life? Why did I choose a partner that's abusive to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I the one that's choosing to pick up a cigarette or to pick up a drink? I'm doing all those things. The moment I took absolute responsibility for everything, even if I go back to my childhood, I said, okay, even that was me. Then you're sitting in the driver's seat. Then
Yeah.
now you get to a position where you're like, I'm going to choose what I'm going to do next. You're no longer in victim mode, but you're in the driver's seat. And that's
Right.
the,
You can reclaim that power versus
yeah,
being you held hostage by that power, right?
right.
Of going,
Yes.
oh, I'm a victim or a martyr of, and we all have things, and I'm not discounting, but right, especially your journey, anybody's journey, right? But to go, I love that you say that 100% accountability to go, I can change this now, right?
Yes.
I'm a woman. I think I was, 28 when I got into therapy, and like, okay, I'm 28. I'm not 8 anymore. I don't have to be the victim anymore. I'm a 28-year-old woman, and
Right.
being able to provide for me and take care of me, kind of the same thing, that pivot point of, okay, I can be the captain of my own ship, right?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
so many women are struggling, and I see this over and over, and on every questionnaire I do, they like, what's your goal? And it's work-life balance, right? So
Mm,
advice you have women trying to reclaim their power or build a fulfilling life on their own terms, because obviously you've done it and you've gone through some very horrific and challenging things, and to be standing in your grace today, like I see you, I read about you, and I just see grace, like, and grace under fire, knowing, hearing more of your background story. So what advice do you have for women trying to reclaim their power?
to reclaim their power, I would ask you to ask yourself, what is it that you really want in life? And is this something that's really what you want, or you've been told that you should want? Because a lot of times what happens is we get programmed by the system. It could be by just as mundane as the movies we watch, the shows we watch, the music we listen to. All these things are going in your head,
Yeah.
and they program us. So you have to ask yourself, why do I want the things that I want? It's self-awareness. And then you get to the real answers of what it is you're really looking for. See, I think we live in a world right now, unfortunately, where women think they have to compete with men. And I don't think we have to do that at all. We're in our own category. We're for ourselves. We're, a mom raising a family and being married is just as noble as a woman that's a CEO, if not more, because you are contributing to society, and how society shapes. That's the most important job there is. And
Right.
and that's been diminished
Well, I
by.
think every decade, right? When I think back me as a young woman versus I'm seasoned now, girl.
I like that seasoned.
Right. I look back like in my, 20s and as an early mom, like we could bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, right? We could
Yeah.
all be it all. And then we got into that pivotal point of I will be my own woman, right? And they're all the songs, I'm every woman. And
Yeah.
there's just like us trying to fight for space. And you're saying we don't have to fight for space.
No. No, I think, if you're confident in who you are, just as a woman, you don't have the need to fight for any space. You're
Right.
fully content in yourself. And if you have a partner, you have a husband or just a partner, you're okay being in your own space as a woman and allowing him to be in his space as a man. You've got no, I mean, it's the most beautiful place that you can be, and it's in your own self confidence, is where it starts.
Right. I don't have to compete with my husband, right? Where in
No.
my youth I did, right? I'm the bigger man. Like, who cares? But I was trying to prove something back then. I was trying to prove, defend, hide, trying to be
Yeah.
like whatever, like you said, what society wants me to be versus who do I want to be? Right.
Yeah.
So, what strategies helped you build strong and aligned relationships with people that you work with?
The strategies that I have is, I would have to say it would have to be my challenges that I've gone through. Okay.
Mhm.
That helps me build a better connection and relationship with people. The other thing is I'm a very practical person, so it comes down to being structured and scheduled. And when you're working with people, it has to come it really does have to come from the heart. It has to be a genuine care to be of service for the other person. And that's what it takes. We can sit here and talk about making money and all that all day long, and yet, are you providing service? Is the end of the story, and that's all. That's the only thing that really matters. I mean, money comes and goes, relationships last a lifetime, and that's what I do, because when I do one-on-one work with people, it's very deep, intensive healing work that deals with traumas, unresolved emotional issues, and so forth. So it's about providing service. If you're doing something just to make money, I would say you don't do that. It's a fail. You fail. There's no winning in that.
Yeah, it's so short-lived, right? But you
Yeah.
don't know that until you do it. It's kind of like when you get in the materialist thing and you get all the things and the cars and the
Yeah.
house, clothes and bags or whatever, you're like, well, I'm still not fulfilled. I'm still not happy, right? It's not the things that do it, but it's almost like you have to go through that,
Hmm.
see, okay, well, it's not that. Like you choosing an abusive marriage to go, wait, why did I do that? I mean, luckily you
Yeah.
have the insight to stop and question. I think people don't question is like, why am I making those choices?
Sure.
Why did I draw that to me? Right. I love Louise Hayes talks about that a lot, about pulling it to you, whether it's an illness or your
Yeah.
relationships. I think you speak to that. And you have a huge mission, girl. You want to impact 1 billion lives, and that's incredibly ambitious. So what drives you to aim so high? And how do you
Well,
keep that vision alive, especially you're on a roller coaster.
yes. This was a joint venture not too long ago with my husband. And we were, if you think about it, it's not really that big, and I'll explain why. Because every person that I help become a better person, then the people that they have a relationship with also experience a better relationship with that person. So it's a ripple effect if you look at
Right.
it that way. So that's what we're doing. We're on a mission to help people become whole again inside, WHOLE, so
Mhm.
that they can take their power back. So they could take the power that they were born with in the first place. You know, your God given power that you came into this life with. And that's what we do. Because what happens is when we go through this life challenges and traumas and sufferings, whatever you want to call it, if we don't deal with them correctly, we end up leaving pieces of ourselves all over the place.
Right.
So, what we do is help you regain all those pieces that you've left behind and become solid inside. And that's a powerful place to be right in your center. And we call that the seat of God, the throne of God.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so, for someone looking to overcome their fear and step into their own greatness, what's the first step that you recommend that they take?
First step, I would say there is you can't really overcome fear. I think fear is something natural that we all experience, and we want to experience it. I mean, imagine if you're going down the street and a car is coming, you don't get afraid. You don't want something like that.
Yeah.
So, and usually, from my experience, I've learned that certain situations in our lives happen to us, or you could say that it happens to us, and you get into the first thing that comes up is fear. Now, if you compare the feeling of fear and excitement, they're kind of the same feeling, are they not? Like you
Yes.
get fear, your heart is palpitating, you're breathing really hard, and excitement is kind of the same thing. So, when you're going to do something, let's say you're going to take on a new career or a new job or something to that effect, and you feel those feelings, know that you're probably on the right track. You want to be a little afraid because that's a little bit of it lights a little bit of fire under you to move.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't look at fear as a bad thing. Fear is it's a signal for you to move forward, most likely,
Yes.
right? Go ahead.
We'll talk about your blueprint, the freedom blueprint. Talk about that and how we can leverage that or use that, because I think that's an amazing tool.
Oh, sure.
Give to
Um,
people that'll have them uncover,
mhm.
where they're stopped and how they can have that courage that they're
Yes,
looking for.
of course. You could go to harmonicwealthglobal.com/freedom, and you could download the Freedom Blueprint for free. And what it does in there is ask you these vital questions and deep contemplative questions to set you on the right track that you need to go. It's very helpful to get you moving, move your feet in the right direction.
Yes, which we all need. So, what
Yes.
for you? What's your big undertaking? I know you just lost your amazing husband,
Yeah.
Dartha Ray. We're sorry for that. But what's next for you and your legacy?
In my legacy, I am going to continue what we were doing. This was a mission that I believe that it was made for us, and just doing God's work is what we do. Is help people heal so that they can live a life that's um, more fulfilling, where it has more meaning for them, and they don't feel like they're trapped in this hamster wheel of life that we call. So
Yes.
I will continue on to do what we were doing and do my one-on-one sessions with individuals to want to free yourself from your past. That's my expertise.
Yes. So you can find us on our website. Everything's in the show notes. Thank you so
Yes.
much for your time, your generosity. Thank you for sharing your story and being so vulnerable and real, right? Especially about where you came from and your story about your mom and your dad. I think that bringing the humanity to our life lessons and how you've overcome is both inspiring, right? To allow us all to go to that next level. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie.
As we close this powerful episode of Power Your Profits, we dedicate this incredible podcast to James Arthur Ray, who is a legacy of resilience, transformation, and continues to inspire us both. Bersabeh, your strength and grace today have been awe-inspiring. You've shown us how to rise above life's challenges and turn pain into purpose, reminding us all of the power we hold within. And to our listeners, if this conversation sparked your journey towards greatness, we look forward to supporting you. Bersabeh is there to help you. Bersabeh, for sharing your heart and your vision. Until next time, keep powering your profits, living your purpose. And this one is for James Arthur Ray. If you know someone that needs to hear this story, please like, subscribe, and pass it along, because this story is about inspiration, hope, and continuing to rise.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Power Your Profits podcast. Let these building blocks from today's most successful industry leaders equip you with the necessary resources and tools to finally establish the highly profitable business of your dreams. Want to hear more? Listen to more episodes at www.poweryourprofitspodcast.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the show. Now is your time to rise to the top of your game. So be sure to catch our next episode. Until next time.